the day, that was the thing to do when we were in high school. We started, everybody had their Levi jacket with all kinds of heavy metal patches all over the place, and yeah, and all that stuff. You had your hair long and all that stuff. But you know, music is designed to influence you one way or the other. And it just depends what kind of music that you listen to. And I'm not trying to harp. I mean, there is some good mainstream music out there. I'm not going to say there's not. It's not all demonic. It's not all taking you the wrong way. There's some stuff out there that you can probably listen to. And but for the most part, the weapon that's designed to help us really, really keep our bearing is worship. Worship is the place that we need to kind of find our avenue on what that's going to help you in the day-to-day things that you're going through. And if you allow that atmosphere to surround you on a constant basis, it's harder for that prince of the power of the air to influence your life. And we talked about this. Even Diane reminded me the other day about I always say the weekend at Bernie's syndrome is sometimes we hear that old music from our old life, and right away Bernie wants to stand up and start dancing, because he loves that music. You hear the Blue Ventures, or you hear somebody, Northern New Mexico people, not my wife or my son, but us Northern New Mexico people have that upbringing. We were all brought up Saturday morning. I don't know if your guys' household was like that. Saturday morning, my parents had the Spanish music on in the morning, and you knew that it was Saturday morning. The vacuum was going, but the Spanish music was going on in the background, right? But it's all these things that is in place for us to make sure what we choose for our day. The Bible tells us that our weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but they're spiritual. So the minute that you're in a spiritual battle, what is your weapon of choice? What is the weapon of your choice today? And many times we don't step back and choose the correct weapon. Sometimes we say, well, we can. Sometimes we think we can handle it on our own, and we can't. We can't handle it on our own. We need to make sure that we're going and we're doing this. So, to get into our study this morning, or a discussion, and however you want to look at it this morning. I had talked last week about the times of solitude and the times that you're by yourselves. Where do you feel alone? Do you feel that you're separated? Do you feel that you're segregated away from all the things, sometimes from family, from your job, even from this world? Sometimes you feel that you're, but I want to reassure you guys again this week is that God will never leave you nor forsake you. It doesn't matter where you're at. It doesn't matter where you're at in your life. I don't care if you're deep in drugs or whatever lifestyle that you're in today. He's there. I'm going to tell you, He's there, and the Bible specifically says that He wants none to perish. So that tells me that God is in the midst of it. He walks with us. He places Himself in the midst of our. I forgot. There's a song, and I can't remember the whole song or what it is, but God says is that He doesn't see a mess and run away. If He sees a mess, He begins to work on it. He begins to insert Himself there. So let me get over here where I want to be at. So God's purpose. This is what I want to talk about today. God's purpose involving what the Holy Spirit is involved in working out God's purpose in your life this morning. So, what I wanted to ask this question this morning is, what is your interaction or what has been your interactions with the Holy Spirit, if any? Does anybody have anything that's ever been, that stands out to them, that as far as you can tell, you knew it was the Holy Spirit. You knew that that He was there and He intervened in that time. Do you guys remember a time like that? Do you have a time that ever happened to you guys? Anybody that wants to share? No? No? I know Diane has a story